Being both a professor and a drag queen means that I'm invested in passing on culture and traditions and history, and I think that's what aunties do for us.
We're bringing to you a multi-part series on queer and trans Asian Pacific Islander history. And I actually got the idea for this episode when I was at a conference and saw an incredible performance by Lahore Vajistan, a South Asian drag queen. So we decided to go to Boston to talk to Lahore, also known as Kareem Kuptandani, and learn more about South Asian queer organizing.
I think one of the reasons I wanted a queer South Asian community was for my family, to say to them what I am, how I feel is valid and exists and is not anomalous to our community and culture. Sangat was the first LGBT South Asian organization in Chicago. It started in 1986, and Ifti Naseem and Viru Joshi, they decided to create a helpline that people could call, and they took turns fielding calls. And through that, they created a network, and they invited people into their spaces to be a part of this organization called Sangat, Sangat meaning harmony, inviting people across classes to be able to talk to each other and be in a space with each other.
After talking with Kareem, we decided to go to Chicago to find out more about queer South Asian organizing and the legacy of Ifti Naseem. Our first stop, the Queer Asian American Collection at the University of Illinois at Chicago.
The Queer Asian American Archives was started by Liz Thompson and Laura Fujikawa, and they were both interested in queer Asian American work and realized that there wasn't a lot of documented histories, especially in the Chicagoland area, and then saying, okay, we need to actually hear about the stories from people who are living in Chicago and what it means for them to be queer Asian American and a Chicagoan. At first, when I was starting with the archives, I thought it was really cool because I've never heard of something like that before. But I don't think it was until I started interviewing queer Asian Americans about their experiences that I realized how much it meant to everyone. Hopefully it will continue growing because there are so many queer Asian American voices out there that have yet to be heard and have very different, unique stories to be told.
Even though we didn't find anything on Ifti Naseem or Sangat in the archives, it was still pretty incredible to see that such a collection even exists. For our next stop, we spoke to current members of Tricone Chicago, an active queer South Asian group, to see what they're up to now and what they could share about Chicago queer history.
Ifti passed before I got seriously involved with Tricone Chicago, but what I've heard about Ifti is that Ifti was a great leader, a great raconteur, someone who is very colorful and larger than life. They've laid the groundwork for us, and if that groundwork hadn't existed, it would be harder for us. In Bangladesh, homosexuality and trans identity are both fairly taboo. I was sort of craving queer and trans South Asian Desi community. Organization like Tricone Chicago is valuable because it affords space for so many people to navigate their challenges, but also their heritage.
I am Muslim, I am a lesbian, I am an attorney. I advocate for all these people. I've been beat, I've been jumped, I've had community members hurt me in many ways. I proudly wear that hat of being Muslim and gay because my community needs it. If it brings more shame to my family, which is what I'm told all the time, then so be it, because if it eases one soul's struggles, it's all worth it.
After talking with the Tricone folks, we decided to go back to UIC, this time to meet up with Gayatri Reddy, an anthropologist in the Global Asian Studies program.
I began doing some fieldwork in Chicago, and of course the only kind of queer South Asian group at the time here was Sangat, and the person who was one of the co-founders of the group, Ifti Naseem, was of course a larger-than-life figure here. And I remember the first time I met him was at the bar Big Chicks, and in walks this flamboyant Pakistani man dressed in a pink shalwar kameez and with a big fur coat. It was winter. He grew up in Pakistan, and Ifti moved to Chicago. I think he came at that moment and founded Sangat at that moment when he was informed, I think, by some of this more expansionist vision that kind of saw sexuality as always intersectional. But it was a very male space that I think alienated a lot of women. They've been doing an amazing job in Tricon, Chicago, of kind of opening it up much more sort of inclusively, certainly across the spectrum. And so I think that is the horizon of where things need to move.
Tricon ended up doing a small memorial that was specifically a queer memorial. We felt like it was important to honor Ifti as a queer mentor and activist and figure.
Look, the thing is, South Asian community means to me a lot, okay? When you're in the beginning, when you come to America, you deny your heritage. And I denied my heritage for a long time, but then I found out, unless you know where you come from, you don't know where you're going. You know why it's important? Because whether you like it or not, same ethnic background, same language, same color, it's a very cliche, but it's true, bird of a feather flock together, okay? So all the smells, all the lingo, all the things, food, make you feel closer to the other person. I never looked down upon anybody. I never looked down upon myself. I was like Mae West, I would rather be looked over than overlooked.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.